Jefferson Robbins with NCW Live. 4 candidates in the race for the primary for Douglas County Commissioner. Another one joins me right now, Austin Flemens, running for Douglas County District 2. Thanks for being here, Austin.
Good to be here. Thank you.
I appreciate your time. You are a commissioner candidate running as a Republican. You're new to politics. You haven't run for office before, to my understanding. Tell us about yourself.
That is correct. So I grew up in the Valley all my life. I went to Eastmont, graduated from the high school there. Shortly after graduation, I joined the Marine Corps as in the infantry. I was a heavy machine gunner. During my time, I served 2 tours overseas. Nearing the end of my enlistment, I obtained the rank of sergeant, where I knew, my time in service, it was over for me, and I was ready to come back home and do something different. And so, roughly 2 weeks after being home, I knew it wasn't over for me. I needed something more to do. And so I sought after firefighting. I did a few ride-alongs, and working with the crews there and seeing how they manage themselves and the teamwork camaraderie, I immediately loved it. I knew it was the lifestyle for me. I've been doing that roughly 8 years now. I am a captain. I am stationed in the southern portion of Wenatchee on the Chelan County side. I love what I do. I love serving the citizens and serving the public. And I'm really looking forward to this opportunity of the actual commissioner, because it'll give me more in-depth on the governmental level of really helping people making a change.
I was going to ask about that. Are there things you think you've learned as a firefighter and working in the fire districts that you think you could bring to the office of commissioner? I mean, are there particular skills, particular insights you think are going to serve you well if you're elected?
Wholeheartedly. And realistically, when I say that too, is when I am out with the public and when we're called to help them, it's on their worst day. It's not just for a cup of coffee. It's when these people are truly in need, and I'm seeing the conditions that people live in, and I understand the issues that they're facing. And I feel like I can make a real difference from knowing this and actually seeing it firsthand.
We'll talk about some of those issues. What have you seen in Douglas County that you think are issues that need to be addressed, that are crying out for some kind of solution?
I would say right now we're going through tough times, to where taxes especially, they're heavy hitting on people. The day-to-day groceries are expensive, gas is expensive, the economy as a whole. Any type of tax break that we can look for or lobby for, or grants that we can go after, anything in the commissioner's seat that can put pressure on putting resources into the public's hands to make their lives easier for them. That's what I'm really about.
What do you think, are there any priorities that the county has set, Douglas County has set, or votes they've taken where you've observed it and you've been like, well, if I were Commissioner Flemens, I might have gone a different direction?
A lot of the things I've agreed with, quite a few of them. There are some where I would never speak directly saying, I'm standing hard on that without the full facts of it, without knowing. There's some things that you're not privileged to if you're not in that commissioner's seat, like a feasibility report. Sometimes those aren't released, and I don't know if the pros actually outweigh the cons on those issues.
Well, let me ask about your philosophy of managing the county. Is there a particular, ethic or guiding principle that you think you would bring to that office?
Transparency and collaboration with other government entities as well. That's what I want to bring forward, and I want to be completely transparent with what's happening in that position, because that seat, again, it's elected by the public. So the public needs to know everything that's going on there. The only reason why they're sitting there is because of the public.
You're running for Douglas County Commissioner District 2, and as you and I were talking about before we started recording, it's an interesting looking district. If you look at it on a map, it takes in a very large territory. And when you're running in the primary, you'll be elected. If you are elected, you'll be voted as one of the top 2 contenders from that district.
Correct.
Then countywide, you have to get approval to become commissioner. So the vote happens first at the district level, secondly at the county level. Do you think that works well, or do you think that district commissioners should be elected solely from the districts they represent?
I actually think the at-large approach, once you actually make it to the seat where there's 2 of you, I believe that's a fair and reputable, because these are going to be your counterparts, the other 2 commissioners, and you're going to bounce ideas off each other that are going to serve each section of their districts. So I wholeheartedly agree. The at-large approach, it's good.
That way you're sort of serving the whole county, not just the area that you're coming from.
Correct. Favoritism, we want to eliminate it.
Well, back in 2022, Douglas County did make a decision I wanted to ask you about. The commissioners backed away from an interlocal agreement that they were talking through with the city of East Wenatchee. There were 600 homes in District 2 that were set to be annexed into East Wenatchee. They were in the county. This interlocal agreement, if it was confirmed by both the county and the city council, would have put them in the city. County backed away from that, saying the commissioners at the time said they thought this should be voted on by the people who lived in that area that was to be annexed. Is that the right decision? Do you feel like an interlocal agreement like that should have been allowed to go forward?
I believe, again, we should put it in the citizens' hands. I believe the ones that are going to be affected should have the vote on it. The pros and cons, again, with a feasibility statement. What would be the benefits of doing this, and what are the cons? Do the benefits truly outweigh the cons? Is it going to serve a bigger purpose and help more of the constituents?
Now, commissioners, kind of a part-time job. Some people have approached it as a full-time job. If you were elected, could we expect to see County Commissioner Austin Flemens coming to the rescue at a fire or an emergency scene? Would you stay on as a firefighter?
Absolutely. I would essentially have 2 full-time jobs. My wife's not very excited for it, but I'm all in on this. I'm excited for the opportunity if I'm allowed.
If you had to describe Douglas County to somebody who'd never been there, what would be your characterization of the county?
My characterization of the county, it would be take in the scenes, see the agriculture side of it, just talk to the neighbors that are around, ask their opinion. I've been here my entire life. I've watched the county evolve from nothing but orchards walking down the road to school to now there's so many homes and apartment complexes. It's all changed, and it's not a bad thing. I believe, in my personal opinion, needs to be changed and managed effectively. And so if anyone is new, just ask your neighbor about how beautiful our county is.
Well, one of the things that county commissioners have to deal with is that kind of growth and change that you talk about, where zoning comes into play. Things may move from agricultural to residential. You've got a lot of growth and population surge happening in Douglas County. How do you balance those concerns between agriculture, conservation, and the need for people to have a good place to live?
Right. So the maximum benefit, I'm never going to take away farmland, ever. That would never be my intention or gain. The maximum benefit for people's homes or new constructions is if it's feasibly sound. If it's going to help the maximum amount of people, not just one set or the other. So whatever is reasonable.
Well, Austin, can you think of anything that I didn't ask about that you think voters should know about you or about your candidacy?
I think the biggest thing is, I'm truly dedicated to the citizens of Douglas County. I've proved that. I've lived this life for the past 8 years, as a firefighter myself. And I fully, wholeheartedly understand their problems, and I want to be on the forefront to acknowledge their concerns and take care of them for them.
Well, Austin Flemens, Republican candidate for Douglas County Commissioner in District 2. I want to thank you a lot for being here.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
You're watching the NCW Life channel.